What's up, Billy? As you know, holiday specials are a staple of every TV show, and the grim adventures of Billy and Mandy are no exception. So let's dive into some of the most unhinged holiday specials of all time. The grim adventures of Billy and Mandy have always pushed the barriers of what was allowed on children's television. From getting the Cartoon Network invaded event sponsor to pull out at the last minute, kind of like some of you watching, and even their dark and disturbing Halloween special definitely spawned some emo girls with daddy issues. Christmas specials are usually holly and jolly, like the kids on Santa's nice list.
But there are some who aren't jolly, some who aren't nice, and Santa makes sure that they'll pay the price.
But not today. We're talking about Santa Claus, his purple thong, and the fact he's been turned into a goddamn vampire.
Bah, humbug.
We open the episode at the mall with Scar as the mall's Santa, and Billy needs to tell Santa what he wants for Christmas. And it goes about as well as you'd expect it.
Have you been relieving yourself on me this whole time?
And yeah, I get Scar here. I'd probably give Billy a good season's beating too, but keep your beard on, man. You don't mess with mall shoppers in the early 2000s. Bitches got trampled during the Black Friday of olden times. So of course, it's time to riot and burn down the mall. And probably kill the false Santa, and we can blame Billy for this.
How come every time I take you kids to the mall, it burns to the ground?
I blame the economy.
So since it's the economy's fault and not Billy's, Grim takes the kids into a swirling vortex to the North Pole, where Billy promptly gets his face ripped off, gets his tongue stuck on Santa's sleigh, and crashes it into Santa's house. So we meet Mrs. Claus and the elves, and Mandy realizes that this means Santa is actually real.
I think this calls for the Billy Was Right dance.
We then go to the creepy dungeon with all the creepy toys and hooks and say hello. So Santa may be a vampire, but he gets tired pretty quickly, and Mrs. Claus drops some knowledge here about how Santa might be, how do I say this nicely? A two-pump chump.
He always did tire out quickly.
He probably needs more fiber in his diet.
We also learn he tried to kill that little dentist elf fucker. You know, the one from that stop-motion Christmas movie you used to watch every year at your grandma's house, eating some lasagna and rainbow cookies while you do it. Anyways, Mandy makes a steak out of a Christmas tree, and they have to go find the head vampire. And I don't know about you, but I would rather go toe-to-toe with a vampire than a brony. Mandy and Grim take off to hunt down Baron von Ghoulish, and Billy's left to help out Mrs. Claus because he's
I'm a man now.
And Mrs. Claus just loses it because apparently Santa don't help with shit because he's busy judging children. So yeah, you could say they need some couples therapy. Mandy and Grim make it to the head vampire and just break in, and Baron von Ghoulish just seems so unfazed by anything other than the mess they caused. When he confirms he's the head vampire, Mandy just stabs this dude, like no hesitation whatsoever, just goes for it. Luckily though, she missed and just made a bigger mess than they made before, but it worked out because they got some intel.
You want the head vampire.
Which they probably wouldn't have gotten if he would have died. So after partnering with Baron von Ghoulish, since it was his and Grimm's dream to save Christmas together, we have a little musical number and the two idiots get frozen solid while they're all lost in the woods. So things ain't going well over on Team Mandy. Over on Team Billy, we have full bellies.
Whoa, this one has 2 bedrooms and 3 baths.
And
You will always have a special place in my heart and in the New World Order.
so Mrs. Claus takes Grimm's scythe and sends them down to Santa's sex dungeon, and shocker, it's a trap. It's always the spouse. We've already been through this. She tells Billy they were naughty, and he just takes her word for it. And Baron von Ghoulish finally remembers that Mrs. Claus is the head vampire. So thanks, dude. Your memory is worse than mine after I've smoked a quarter ounce on a Tuesday before a business meeting. With Santa ready to go ho 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 all over their faces, we actually get to see a scared Mandy who starts singing in desperation to try and save them from Santa's wrath.
Up on the rooftop, click, click, click. Down through the chimney with good Saint Nick. First comes a stocking of little Nell. Oh, dear Santa, fill it well.
But even with Mandy terrified, she still needs help to smile, because remember, if Mandy smiles, reality falls apart. But once Santa breaks for a second, Mandy instantly tries to stake Santa to death and drops one of the coldest lines in television history.
We're here to save Christmas, Mandy, not ruin it again.
You're lucky that death was here to save you this time, Batman.
Grimm finally calls his scythe, showing he could have stopped this at any point if he really wanted to, and they go to confront Mrs. Claus. She finally reveals her true identity as the head vampire, and she starts revealing their entire past and her relationship with Santa. And let me tell you, Mrs. Claus was a baddie back in the day. But after decades of neglect, she finally snapped. Mandy and Grimm accuse her of a diabolical plot to transform everyone into vampires by sending a vampire Santa down everyone's chimney. But unfortunately for them, that wasn't her plan. But now it is.
Elves! Oh, this isn't good.
Meanwhile, Billy is exploring and finds Santa's private study, where he does Billy things and just destroys the office. While destroying things, he finds out about Santa's contingency plan to save Christmas. So while Billy's working on the antidote, Mandy and Grimm are trapped and the scythe's magic is frozen, so they have to fight back using everything in the toy factory at their disposal. So Grimm is struggling quite a bit, but luckily for him, Mandy stops the elves and takes on the head vampire in her true form with a, wait for it, a freaking Barbie stake. That's right, bruh. Those feet, they be sharp.
And I thought she was ugly before.
But before the final fight, Billy arrives and we learn the antidote was cookies and milk all along. So now you know why you give Santa milk and cookies, so your kids don't get slaughtered by vampire Santa. Santa apologizes to Mrs. Claus for neglecting her thanks to Billy's wisdom, and they manage to save Christmas. Santa also tells us this has happened multiple times in the past.
Between you and me, this is like the 6th or 7th time she's turned me into a vampire.
Goddamn, bro. Y'all in a toxic relationship. Oh yeah, and then the vampire elves just murder Spurg. Then the credits roll and the hair metal plays, and this seems to be the actual reason why this episode is no longer available. It's just a copyright issue, and you can't get this episode everywhere. There's no copyright issues. You can even upload this entire episode to YouTube in full with no copyright claims as long as you mute the track, which is wild. Luckily, the other holiday special, Billy and Mandy's Jacked Up Halloween, is available to watch in arguably one of the most iconic Billy and Mandy episodes ever made. It opens up like every other Halloween special with our main pro tag, Billy the Goat, watching some scary movie. But wait, it's not a movie, it's today's sponsor. The sponsor's me. It's me. It's my other channel, Sorta Stupid. It's a group reaction channel where me and my friends watch shows like Billy, Mandy, SpongeBob, Regular Show, and a ton more. So if that sounds cool to you, check out Sorta Stupid here on YouTube. But if you don't give a shit, you're in luck, because Mandy shows up with Grimm's head to save us from the dreaded ad to go trick-or-treating, because, you know, it's a Halloween special. So they grab our boy Billy, and for whatever reason, they allowed him to take Grimm's scythe. So we run into Erwin, who is just the fucking worst. He also tries to repeatedly grope and kiss Mandy the entire episode, and has this Helga-level stalker closet. But instead of being a rational stalker like Helga and hiding his creepiness in the closet, no, he just has it all out in the open like a psychopath. Luckily, the gang ditches Erwin before he can change costumes, and they head off to their first house of the night. A grumpy old hag who's stockpiling candy lives there.
It's trick-or-treat, lady.
Do you have any chocolate nuggets?
Now they trick this crusty old biddy into getting stuck so they can get her all wet and rob her blind. So they've basically beaten Halloween already with the amount of candy they stole, and they decide to enjoy their feast in a nearby cemetery, as you do, until Billy asks why people do tricks on Halloween.
I suppose that's partly my fault.
Grimm tells Billy and Mandy about a guy named Jack who used to pull pranks on everyone. He was basically Tanner Cook, that YouTuber who got shot not too long ago for pranking, and even though he survived, Jack did not. The town tricked the queen to get Jack back, and with her Karen-ass attitude, she had his back blown out. It was kind of brutal.
Well, it was his time, but the guy refused to go.
He showed up to do his whole Grim Reaper dealio, and Jack tricks Grim and steals the scythe, and it backfires. Dude gets the eternal life he wanted, but Grim decapitated his ass, and he's immortal, so yeah, bitter, headless pumpkin dude. Grim then tells the kids that Jack is still in the area, pulling pranks to this very day, every Halloween, and Billy reacts accordingly.
Oh, that is the lamest story I ever heard. I'm so sure. Jack the evil pumpkin-head prankster. Well, I don't buy it.
Erwin shows up again, dressed as a turtle, gets ditched again, and Mandy and Grim split up with Billy, who we obviously know was a terrible idea because he ends up finding Jack's house right away. He does get skunked, though, so that kind of sucks.
He likes me.
Billy flexes the scythe, Jack steals it from him the exact same way he stole it from Grim, but Billy isn't mad. He just invites Jack to trick-or-treat with him, so Jack opens a... and shit gets a little wild. Erwin shows up dressed as a banana.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
And Grim is kidnapped by Jack. Erwin shows up yet again in another shitty costume, and Jack threatens to cut Grim's head off.
Sorry, Grim, old boy. Tough break. Well, we sure had some great times together, eh, Grim?
So yeah, Billy just ditches Grim and walks away. He eventually realizes what's happening though, bumps into Mandy, and she gets ready for the ultimate prank war. And the most important part of this prank war is Billy's bare ass, and I am not kidding.
No! Check this out!
Jack's distracted by Billy's ass, and Mandy is setting up a stupid amount of violent and deadly tricks. But he knew the whole time. So was the ass actually important? I don't know. But Mandy's captured. Erwin interrupts them not long after by triggering every last trick, which sets Jack and the pumpkins into a severe laughing fit that kills them. I can't blame him though. Watching Erwin get hurt is one of life's great pleasures. Now, amidst the laughing fits of death, Mandy frees Grim and they send Jack to the underworld where he's gonna have a seemingly shitty time.
You know, Grim, if you didn't loan me the scythe in the first place, this kind of thing would never happen.
I hate you, Billy.
Sadly, those are the only two holiday specials Billy and Mandy had, but they were both super fun episodes, which is pretty damn common for Billy and Mandy. This show has some banger episodes, and more specifically, some insanely good crossover episodes, which I covered in my Cartoon Network crossover history retrospective. So if you want more Billy and Mandy content, click that video and skip to 3324 in that video, and you'll be right at the Billy and Mandy stuff. I got you, Billy. Subscribe for more and watch another video, and I'll give you a cookie. Bye.